what does Mountain and Sea Strategy do? What exactly do we do here? Or what does Char do here? Well, today I'm going to actually talk about it, and I'm going to give you a couple examples, an actual real life example from my friend with Naturerails. We're going to talk about what Mountain and Sea Strategy does to support companies like Naturerails. So Mountain and Sea Strategy can actually help existing companies that have been thriving and doing excellent for many, many years, 20 plus years, such as Naturerails with Wendy. Or it can be for somebody that's transitioning out of a corporate role or starting a new business. That's exactly what Mountain and Sea Strategy can do. So today I'm going to give several steps of the things that I do to help my clients, and so that you can learn more. Also, if you're interested, I can actually send you more detail. But first of all, I'm going to pull up my handy dandy book here. Thank you, Sue, for my book here. This is my book, and the first thing I just want to go over is exactly what Mountain and Sea Strategy does. First of all, I just need to go back, and I said this in my prior video, what is Mountain and Sea Strategy? First of all, I would tell you I was walking on the beach over by my house here in Nuevo. It's actually called Flamingos and Nueva Verita. And actually it's Nuevo Nayarit now because it's changed this last year. But Bruce and my dogs and I were walking up the beach, and I said, what's the name of my company going to be? And it's like Mountain and Sea Strategy, because we live by the mountains and the sea. So what is Mountain and Sea Strategy? So let me just give you some top items that what I do in my role. By the way, I like to rely on my background, which is an HR executive. I've had, I won't give you my full resume. You can look at my LinkedIn, but you'll see that I've had many years of HR, talent management strategy, and I decided to apply that into more of an entrepreneurial focus to help others do the same. And my prior videos talk about those reasons why. But in my coaching and consulting, these are the things that I do to work with you. First, we identify a vision. So if anybody either wants to expand their current company that needs to maybe expand into franchising, such as Naturerails, which I'll talk to you about in a minute, and actually expand marketing initiatives and approaches, that's what I'll do. We develop a vision of exactly what you'd like that to look like moving forward. And by the way, before I move into my next topic, I want to mention what is vision and where did that come from Mountain and Sea Strategy. Okay, let me tell you a quick story. So when I was in college, yes, this was only last year, no kidding, decades ago, when I was in college, I actually worked at Old Chicago's, and the original Old Chicago's in Greeley, Colorado. And I was hired there as a waitress. Now, I did have waitressing background, however, not a lot. I worked in LaSalle at Armadillo. So those of you from LaSalle, Colorado, and Greeley would know what I'm talking about. And I was hired on, I had that type of experience, but not a lot. And I wasn't the best waitress. Anyway, so I got hired on by Old Chicago's. They brought me on, and they said that they hired me because of my Vita. And I said, what the heck is Vita? And they said, Vita is like life, energy, life. I mean, Greek or Latin or some type of word. And they say that's how we hire our people. People that actually can light up a room, that have energy, excitement, and enthusiasm in their day-to-day. They said they're not necessarily looking to hire people that might be the very best waitress or waiter or bartender ever. They always hire people for their Vita. So that is why I always talk about Vita Vision. So sometimes if some of you have seen my emails, it says Vita Vision, it's life vision, life ambition. So for you, if you were to start working with me, I would help you identify your vision, your life vision. Because oftentimes I think that in college and when we're just getting into our careers at a young age, we pick what we're going to study and our major, and oftentimes we don't really think about our life passion and our vision, and we think about what's going to make us the most money. Like, I think I'm going to be an accountant, or I'm going to be work in healthcare administration, or whatever it is, and that's going to be the rest of my life. However, you may have a very different life vision. And sometimes when we're going through middle age and changes in our later life, we realize, oh my gosh, I've never really identified my vision. So back to Mountain and Sea Strategy, what we do for you, number one, is we help you develop your vision, and I use all my HR background, expertise, and perspectives to help craft that. The next thing we do is we come up with your business plan, and strategy. Now, I'm not going to go through all strategy planning principles. I'll tell you the Strategic Thinking Institute with Rich Horwath has a phenomenal website, which I'll put my link below, and you can learn about the Strategic Thinking Institute. And I actually worked with them last year as a strategy consultant. Mainly I was doing business development and helping people, but I have to tell you that I was given the opportunity to go through his programs and learn all about building strategy. So although I'd recommend utilizing Rich Horwath and the Strategy Thinking Institute tools, I do have an excellent strategic mindset and skill set background, not only from when I was an HR executive and doing business planning and talent management strategy for the companies that I used to work with before, but also now moving forward and going into Mountain Sea strategy, I help people come up with that business strategy. Now, when I say that we come up with an actual plan, is that we actually put it on paper. And if you actually listen to Rich and what he talks about, it doesn't need to be complicated, ideally less than 2 pages, something very clear and concise, and align that to your strategy. So what I do at Mountain and Sea Strategy is take your vision, your business idea, either expansion of your current existing vision or starting a new company, and I help you build your business strategy and plan. And so that is awesome. The next thing I get into, the third major area, which is probably the biggest bucket, is what I call the project charter. And the project charter is where the real meat on the bones occurs. So this is where I actually go in. I utilize AI technology and various softwares. So yes, anybody can go on ChatGPT and anybody can go out and go into AI and try to come up with some kind of project charter. But the cool thing about Mountain and Sea Strategy is I actually have specific software to align your business strategies in combination to my strategic planning, and we come up with a very robust project charter. Okay, so I just went, blah, that was a lot of information. Oh, by the way, on a side note, I moved inside. Look, this is my little ditty. This is my office right now. I'm actually looking at a beautiful view out here. The views that, if you saw some of my prior videos, you would have seen the gorgeous views. Looking out at Miss Maloya Bay. This is actually inside my office, and working here. Okay, let me go back. So let's talk about the project charter. So I would like to talk about Naturerails. Naturerails, by the way, and I've also put them into my link, my description here. And so I am actually pulling up their website here. So what is Naturerails? They have custom railing, gates, murals, lights, various decorative screens in your house, decorative items like lights and that type of thing. You have to take a look at their website. It's absolutely amazing, so beautiful, and everything in every area with all kinds of craftsmanship, taking metal fabrication and doing artwork design, and actually turning it into something beautiful that is also functional in your home, and also fire resistant, or very strong, and it can be off a balcony or a loft. And oh my gosh, when you look at Naturerails, beautiful art gallery here. I mean, you've got everything from wildlife, trees, palm trees. I don't know how many palm trees are in here, which I think we'll do more of down here in Puerto Vallarta. But when you talk with Wendy, it could be anything. Like it could be in your home, it could be in your cabin, your lodge, it could be in your office or commercial building. And when Wendy was out here, because she also owns a property here that she is renting out in Bucerias, which is also technically the town that I live in, her and I got together and talked about Mountain and Sea Strategy and how we could collaborate and support one another. So I said, well, hey, you can be one of my clients. And so I'm actually doing Mountain and Sea Strategy with her. So the objective, what I'm doing with Wendy and Naturerails, is we're designing a franchise for the future for her, which is going to be a strategic objective for Naturerails. So what we're doing there is we're diving into the excitement of the future of Naturerails. So it's well beyond a one family shop, and she could tell you a little bit more about that, but also kind of more the business growth aspect, and where I can help her strategically grow that. And so what we do is, one, we develop a franchise model together. So I actually, do crafting of a detailed franchise model, like building some kind of solid foundation and really evaluating her current business structure and operational guidelines and really evaluating that. So that takes a lot of intake and dialogue and really understanding, for example, Naturerails and the business operations. From there, we do this. I mean, it's more in depth than this, of course, but I'm just giving you the highlights. We develop a franchise model, and this will include diagrams and flow charts and various visual aspects. In fact, over this weekend, I think I've already sent her multiple different charters, charter examples, strategic charters that she could start reviewing. The next step that Wendy and I will do with Naturerails is that we'll do an expansive market research analysis. So we will actually go out and look at various markets across specifically North America. She's global. They've actually done business, I understand, in, I think she said, the UK. She can tell you a little bit more, but mainly like in the North American regions such as Canada and the United States and even in Mexico. But then we're looking at other areas to broaden the market, and specifically in the area of franchising. So one of the areas that Wendy and I were talking about is expanding her franchise, perhaps in California. So what happened recently in California, as we know, is a lot of fires and there's a lot of rebuilding going on. So we think it'd be an excellent market for a particular franchise in California for Naturerails. Obviously, metal fabricative artwork, balusters, and type of structures would really help for fire prevention. So that's one area we think a great franchise would start. Also, what we're going to do is work on developing her, enhancing her standard operating procedures. So obviously she's got, very standard operating procedures, which are her backbone of her company. She's so organized and done an excellent job of that. However, what we're going to do is really expand that and really utilize technology like AI and do some extensive work on those standard operating procedures to make sure they're the most up to date, since she's been around for several decades. Also, we're going to look at how we can do some brand consistency with Naturerails. Your brand identity is about building trust, and believe me, I would tell you that Naturerails has actually had some excellent success because of their brand identity and the fact that they have clients. So pretty much their entire business has been based on word of mouth because they do such a great job. It's phenomenal. So this will also take that to more of a franchise model where other franchisees could then build upon that brand consistency, obviously, to get them started with their new franchise. Also, the process is really identifying the right type of franchisees. So believe it or not, I told Wendy this, she couldn't believe it when I talked to her about this the other day. I used to do franchise. I actually was a broker with franchises, believe it or not, and in between a couple HR jobs, and I actually worked to help sell franchises. So I have that background. So, obviously, if we're looking for various franchisees, we're going to have to build screen visuals, onboarding, training, chain logistics systems, marketing tools. I mean, just a ton of different aspects to take a very well-oiled machine of Naturerails and now convert it over into more of a franchise process. And then nextly, what we'll plan to do is prepare a business for sale. So, I'm not sure she's necessarily looking to sell her business, but certainly she's going to be looking at her franchise fees, and that's going to occur some kind of sale process and process of finding the right franchise. And so developing that kind of marketing plan, marketing strategy. So going back to what I do with Mountain and Sea Strategy, luckily I have an extensive following, and particularly in LinkedIn, for example, I have well over 25,000 followers, predominantly big businesses, CEOs, executives, strategists, business owners, people that do funding for companies or real estate. So anyway, I have a very broad type of market out there that I can tap into. Also a lot of networking that I have. And so it's going to give us a great start for actually marketing. So anyway, well, I could go on and on. I mean, again, the three main areas that I do to help someone like Naturerails that's an existing business, or help someone that wants to develop a new business, is one, to help them to identify their vision. Two is to help them build their business strategy and their plan. And then thirdly, come up a very robust project charter, including all of those different things only highlighted to you today. And also, I'm just very happy that I'm really trying to set the example with my clients by utilizing technology and platforms and software, so they're not having to be worried about it. I take all the worry and stress away. All I do is do the coaching and the calls. We decide if we meet weekly, monthly, whatever works best. I can visit them on site or do everything virtually. And ultimately, I house their project charter and an actual software platform portal, so that every time that we meet, we actually have those things at our fingertips and can use that working forward. So anyway, it's fun moving inside for a second. And but this is, again, Char. I'm with Mountain and Sea Strategy. So if you like this video, again, these are like my first videos. They can be a little bit, robust, and I do a lot of chit-chatting, but I must say I love doing this. So if you like what you see and you'd like to see more of this, I'll get better and better at it. Please like and subscribe. Don't you like my thumbnail? I'm working on this kind of stuff. And I'm hoping to get some likes and subscribers. And also, I just want to appeal to the people that might be midlife, or maybe people that are going through some transition in their career. They might really appreciate having someone with my expertise to help guide them through that. And what better way to do this by liking other professionals, midlife professionals like myself, to support other midlife professionals through building business, entrepreneurship, or building a whole new life and journey. So thank you very much, and thanks for watching my video, and adios.